So hey, welcome to Empathic Dreamwork. This is a little sampling from some of the work we're going to be doing in our 10-week series. And Empathic Dreamwork in itself is a practice that you can continue going forward, even if you choose not to join the series. So I like starting things like this with a little bit of imagination through poetry. So I'd like to invite a little poem by an excerpt of a poem by David White, What to Remember When Waking. What you can plan is too small for you to live. What you can live wholeheartedly will make plans enough for the vitality hidden in your sleep. To be human is to become visible while carrying what is hidden as a gift to others. To remember the other world in this world is to live in your true inheritance. So this is, like I said, a sample of some of the kinds of work that we'll do in the 10-week series, Wild Heart, which is about cultivating wholeness and self-healing. And we'll actually be starting that next week on Thursday. We need about a handful more people to register in order to hold it. So let me know if you're interested in any way, and we can make something happen. So a little bit about me. So I guide people towards connection and integration through cultivating wholeness and nonviolent communication. I just recently finished my certification by Animas Valley as a eco-depth psychologist practitioner. Actually, through Bill Plotkin has a book called Wild Mind. So that's really what I'm leveraging for today's workshop, along with my nonviolent communication skills. So some of the things I do: shadow work, dream work. So engaging subpersonalities like internal family systems. There's also things like active imagination and deep imaginal journeys, which I facilitate to help you learn about yourself from the inside. And of course, mirroring and empathic listening. So I do offer one-on-one personal development guiding through nature-based practices. So just a little creating a safe container for us to be together. I ask for confidentiality, that some people might be sharing some things that are private, and we ask that you're welcome to share your own personal experience. Just don't share the experiences of others, and definitely don't provide any personally identifiable information. So consent is around you get to participate in whatever way you choose. Sort of like you can pass if I offer something and you don't want to do it. And we did talk about recording this session for educational purposes. Compassion is, for me, the way it lives is everyone's doing the best we know how to get our needs met. And connection is one of the things motivating this particular offering, and self-connection really is one of the things that motivates all this. So we have one more person joining, and then I'm going to be locking the space. So I just want to welcome Sena. Hello, Sena. We're just now. Hi. So glad you could join us. We're just now creating agreements for our space together, and I'm going to flash them on the screen really quick. We want to hold our space to be confidential. We are recording this session for educational purposes, people that might not be able to attend. Holding that we're all doing the best we know how to meet our needs is what we're up to. And in this case, self-connection is really one of the main reasons we're here. So if everyone can agree to that, if you could like raise your hand, just give some affirmative sign that that works for you. If you could raise your hand. And Dee Dee, thank you. Yeah, so now we have a space, we have some agreements, and we can allow our humanity, we can maybe allow for some, honest expression, and hopefully some dream work too. So I have a few slides sort of to create the context for empathic dream work, and then we'll invite some dreams. And we'll get to that in a second. So why pay attention to dreams? Well, it's free. They're happening anyway, and it's a way of receiving wisdom and tap into creativity. Dreams are safe, non-ordinary states of consciousness. So, you're not doing anything special in order to dream. In fact, I've heard for some people, it's hard to dream when they're doing any kind of substances on the side. So dreams are natural. And dreams kind of guide us towards what's missing, inviting us to maybe feel this more or explore this, maybe inviting us to experience a scene. And it's a great place to find shadow. So what I've found in my experience with dreams is that often dream maker, whoever or whatever that is, creates an experience that for whatever reason they feel is important for me to experience. And many times they are healing experiences in my in my past. So that's another reason. And if you engage in the deeper work related, that we'll go through in like the series, dreams can also be a source of identifying shadow. So shadow are the things that we can't see about ourselves that might be repressed energies. And they can be scary, like things that we avoid in the dream world, but they can also be like golden shadows, things that we totally admire and really want. Like we might be super fascinated with a dream figure. So there's both golden and sinister shadow that we might be able to identify. And I've personally found that doing shadow work is kind of important because often, it represents some repressed energies that maybe it wasn't safe for us to express that in our childhood or for whatever reason. So that energy got kind of shoved into the basement of our psyche. And what happens is often really good stuff goes along with it, like other related energies as well. Things that we need in order for us to show up fully in life also get put down in the dungeon of the psyche. So anyway, some reasons why you might consider doing shadow work. And so working with the shadow elements can release and awaken, these energies, and it helps us to release projections. Projections being, we're taking this repressed energy and putting it on someone else or putting it on a new situation. So just a little thing about empathic dream work. So dreams are the voice of the unconscious, and they present information in metaphorical form. So dreams often shouldn't be taken literally. So I've found that maybe in a fraction of a percent, there's a literal insight that come out of dreams, but I definitely invite looking at dreams through a metaphorical lens. And the work that I'm doing is based on Animas Valley Institute's Wild Mind training program, which I just completed my certification in that. And there's actually a book by Bill Plotkin titled Wild Mind, Field Guide of the Human Psyche. So this work originated with Carl Jung, and if you've ever heard of his Red Book, is a perfect example of how dreams can inspire internal conversations with other voices that might be present in the psyche, and also it activated a different kind of a related to dream work. There's this practice of active imagination, which Carl Jung kind of I wouldn't say he invented it, but he definitely developed it for the Western world. And this work is also influenced by James Hillman, but it's coming, more directly through Bill Plotkin. So the invitation is to let the dream reveal itself from the inside. So what I found in dream work, that when I'm engaged, that there's a part of me that wants to analyze it, wants to put a label on it and move on, that image means this, and then or I might even go online. I'm so curious about an image, and then I might get what the internet feels about that particular image. And the encouragement of this particular work is to let the dream energy inform you from the inside, as opposed to listening to the ego, which wants to label and explain and move on. And often, and so maybe a little bit of the motivation. So often, the shadow kinds of things that are revealed through dreams are very uncomfortable for the ego. So that they're sort of opposite of what the ego is. And when I say ego, that means conscious awareness in this context. So the part of us that is consciously aware. So using Jung's terminology, we're kind of engaging with some unconscious elements that somehow the dream maker wants us to see. So there's a lot of mystery in where dreams come from, but it seems like there's useful information, and Jung's experience invites us to actually create a conscious relationship with these elements, so that we can I would say live more fully, but also tap into some creativity that's also down there in the unconscious. So hopefully you're getting excited about this work. I am. Dream work has really done a lot for me. So letting the dream reveal itself from the inside. And James Hillman was a very strong proponent of letting the dream images reveal themselves, as opposed to trying to explain them. So that's one of the shifts that was important from Carl Jung's work, because he did more you might call ego analysis. So we use empathic curiosity for navigating. So that's sort of bringing in what I know about empathy from nonviolent communication, and I use that as a curiosity for navigation. And you can also use that as you might choose to do some self-guiding as well. So the invitation for Dreamwork is to retell the dream in the present moment as if it's going on right now. And just for today, we're not going to go into any like super scary nightmares or anything like that. We don't really have, the time or the bandwidth for that in this workshop. But I'm definitely willing to engage one-on-one if that's something that comes up. So a little bit about getting started with Dreamwork. And maybe I'm going to pause. So I've given you a lot of maybe technical things about the psyche and all these words. I'm throwing out some words that may not have a lot of meaning for you. So I want to pause, maybe for a little bit of dialogue and even maybe questions if that's. So I use the word shadow. Which is maybe things that have been repressed. They're in the unconscious, so I use that word. So even the word unconscious, it's a concept developed by Carl Jung that might not be familiar with you. And I use the word ego, so ego being conscious awareness, like the part of you that chose to show up to this workshop. It was an ego thing. And the ego is really important. It's very, there seems to be kind of a new age idea out there that somehow the ego is bad. We really need our egos, like to be consciously aware and to make decisions to survive. My sense is, ego has gotten a bad, kind of a negative rap out there in the new age field. I think they're referring to ego identity. So when they say ego, so there's a difference, so we all have, as humans, we have an ego identity. So, yeah. So just differentiating between what we mean by ego here and what might be out there in the internet sphere. Yeah. So any questions about what it is that we're talking about here? And yeah, and actually, I found that it's helpful to get a little audience participation, to get the energy moving a little bit. I'd love to hear what you understood about your understanding of what ego is, because that's a term that gets thrown out a lot. Is anyone willing, raise your hand if you're willing to give your understanding of what that term is in the context of our time today. Is anyone willing to, Dre, go ahead.
Yeah, sure, I'll go. I reference the ego as Earth generating operating system. It's my personality I use to create and build on this physical plane of existence, and having a healthy relationship with it because I do need it to survive. So it's my survival program in a sense. Yeah.
Beautiful. I like that. Yeah, thanks. I might quote you. Is that your personal definition?
No, I borrowed it from a 12-step program.
Oh,
Earth
okay,
generating operating system. Yeah.
cool. Thanks, Dre. Um, and we want to differentiate. We were talking about ego because the ego wants to label and solve, and it's a good thing. And in Dreamwork, we want to let the dream reveal something. We don't know what that is. We don't, but we want that understanding to come from an experience that we have inside, as opposed to explaining it, analyzing it. So that's sort of why it's important to talk about this conscious self-awareness in the ego. And that's also, so conscious self-awareness also delineates maybe what the unconscious might be. So the things that we're not aware of most of the time, right? And that can, Carl Jung called it the unconscious. And so the theory behind it is that dreams are some kind of revelation coming from the opposite of conscious self-awareness, whatever that is. And you know, you can call it the unconscious. I think that's enough information to maybe get started. Pausing for any other questions and clarifications.
I do.
Yeah.
Just more with your definition of the difference between the ego and ego identity, the differentiation of that, because there's a lot of ego bashing out there, and you're
Yeah.
saying that refers more to the ego identity. So I just want a clarification on the difference there.
Sure. Yeah. What I mean by ego identity is like when I say, "Hey, I'm an NVC trainer," or it's kind of like a mask that I put on so that that defines sort of like who I am. And like another mask that I used, I mentioned, "Hey, I just finished my certification in this depth psychology, eco depth psychology program from Animas Valley." So that it's sort of like a maybe a story that goes along with the being that I want associated with who I am. So that's what I would call ego identity. And I think Jung also called them personas. Like it's you might see it as a mask that we're wearing, and they're important. But it's sort of like different than who I really am. And and this is an important thread. I'm just gonna maybe throw a teaser out there. Like part of the work, part of the reason that's motivating me to do all of this, and I would say, I think Jung would say that that was part of his motivation for going into the unconscious, is I want to discover beyond my mask, beyond my ego identity, who am I? And why am I here? It's like really deeper questions. And you know, Jung and Bill Plotkin talk about the part of us that does know, and you know, the word that they use to describe that is soul. So soul being the part of me that knows who I am and what might be kind of the mythological story of why I'm here. So that's what motivates my work is discovering who I am. And Carl Jung talked about individuation, like becoming me that isn't related to my ego identity, isn't related to the expectations of my culture or the careers that I have and the things that I do. So that's kind of what's motivating this work. And Dreamwork for me has been a huge portal to discovering this this maybe listening to the soul. I mean, I don't know where dreams come from, but part of the theory or the maybe the belief and the experiences is that some of the dreams do emanate from soul. Soul being the part of us that's purely, you know, natural and has chosen to wake up at this particular point in history and time. Thank you for the question. This is so fascinating. We could probably spend the next 2 hours talking about it. And Didi, I saw that your hand went up earlier, and I just want to give you an opportunity to speak. And do you have a question or want to make a comment?
Yes, I have a question. You said something about letting it come from inside, or something about coming from inside. And I'm wondering if you can throw more light, as well as not to interpret dreams literally, but maybe to give it time, more time to unfold. Is that what I heard?
Yes. So yes, sorry, could you ask the first part of your question again? Because I
Yeah, you
heard
said,
multiple
y-
layers there.
yes. The first part of my question is that I think I heard you say that we let, you know, it come from inside. We let maybe our dreams, we let whatever come from inside. And I didn't get that very well.
Yeah, yeah. And thank you for asking that question. And that's actually where we're going, is hopefully
Okay.
we'll be able to demonstrate what that looks like. My intention is to hold space for some dream work that we could all observe, and which is where we're going next. Is basically as we're I'm going to be inviting someone to go into their dream space. So basically reliving the dream while we're having a conversation. So a part of you is awake and able to engage with me, and another part of you is in the dream. And so, part of my role as a guide will be to maybe ask some questions like curiosities around what you're seeing, how you might feel about relating to different dream images. And so the feelings that you have inside will be revealing information about what the dream is communicating. Was that helpful, Ndidi? So we're kind of
Yes.
talking about
Yes.
where it
Thank
is that
you.
we're going. So thank you for the question. And you had a second part of the question.
Okay. It's about not interpret the dreams literally.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
So often, so the basic assumption, encouraged by Jung and others in this field, is that dreams and the unconscious, they communicate through symbolic language, through metaphor. You might recall, or maybe you've heard of the work of Joseph Campbell, and his work with archetypes, and so archetypes are sort of like types of like a flavor of humanity that shows up over and over, that is somehow passed on from generation to generation, like an archetype of a father, right? So all of us have sort of this image of what a father is, and there's also an archetype of a mother figure, and what that means to us, and sort of like Jung would say, that comes those images that show up in multiple cultures all over the world, that they're universal, that all of humanity has an experience of this archetypal nature, and so the invitation is that dreams are communicating through metaphor, through through mythology. So is another way of you might think of Greek mythology, with the different gods, and they have different behavior traits. So those can also be seen as kind of like energies that come up from the unconscious. So that's the kind of language that we're inviting through the dream work. Was that helpful, Ndidi?
Yes. Thank you
Yeah.
so much. Thank you.
Sure. And and so things might happen in the dream that aren't intended to be. I don't believe that they're intended to be literal. So it's important to make the distinction that we're listening for metaphorical, for myth, like mythic stories that we might be living that come from the unconscious. All right, so let's go ahead and move into. I have one more slide, and which will talk about sort of like the space that we're creating right now, sort of like part one of our workshop, the experiential part. And then in part two, you'll have the opportunity to draw some images, some dream images from the dreams that have come up. So let's see. So I think we've been through this slide already. Oh, no, we haven't. So the invitation, getting started with Dreamwork. So having an intention to remember your dreams. So opening yourself up to that. If you keep a journal next to your bed, along with something to write with, and a headlamp. I have a red light headlamp because it's best for nighttime, so it doesn't, wake up your brain too much. So as soon as you wake up and you realize that you had a dream, then the invitation is that you write it down in the first person. And sometimes the dream has images that arise, and you might actually draw those out to help remember what the energy is. And this is just, a reminder of not trying to, make sense out of the dream from the part of you that wants to solve the puzzle. So the invitation is to allow the dream to inform you. So creating a space for us to maybe do some guided dream work. So one person will be invited to do dream work, and the invitation is that I would be doing the guiding, and that everyone else would just witness silently. I find that witnessing can also be helpful in sort of like learning from the experience. So the dreamer is invited to tell the dream slowly in the first person, like they're in it, and try to stay with the dream as much as possible while simultaneously staying present to my talking. And I might invite you to describe detail of what's happening in the dream, what's around you, and so the main point is to tell the dream in the present moment. And there might be times when I ask you to go back to a particular place in the dream. So what I'd like to do right now is kind of take a sampling of what's out there. We don't want to work with anything super intense, no nightmares or anything that that are really super hard to deal with. But I'd like to hear maybe a summary or a title of your dream, and I'd like to collect ideally 2 or 3 different titles of dreams, so that we can I could kind of discern what would be a good kind of a dream to work with during our session. Raise your hand if you brought a dream with you that you might be willing to share. Okay, we got at least 4 hands. And what I like to do is just collect a title. If you could give a title to your dream, just share that, and then we'll figure out who goes next. So I saw Dre, Vanessa, and then Sang. Dre, are you willing to share your title?
Well, I guess say like travel ticket. Yeah.
Travel ticket.
Travel ticket. Yeah.
Travel ticket. All right. Thank you. Vanessa, how about you? What's your dream title?
I think trust and a break-in are factors that stand out to me.
A break-in. Okay, and trust. Thanks, Vanessa. Sang, would you up for sharing your title, the dream title?
First, I thought of adventure, and then I realized water was a main element of the dream, and so I think maybe going to water or adventure with water.
Adventure with water. Thank you. Thank you, Singh. And Sena, did you have a dream that you brought? I didn't see your video.
Yeah, I look it up. I didn't come with a dream,
Okay, that's
but
okay.
now you're saying, lately I have a lot of dreams that I realize I am having a lot of self-judgment. I want to work more of the self-acceptance and love.
Okay. And I invite you maybe to hone in on one dream, like a specific one that you might address for today. So let's see. Going one layer more, I'm intrigued by water, saying, just because I've been working with water too, and we might be able to do more than one. Can you give me like maybe a little bit more of what's happening in the dream, just so to get a sense for where this might go?
So do you want me to kind of describe the overall what's going on in the dream?
Yeah, and maybe a couple of sentences just around like the scene and.
There's right from the very beginning, there's just a big body of water, and I was in awe of it. It was a kind of like a fantastical kind of situation. And I was very drawn to it, and so I started exploring, and there was a little bit of fear, like slash excitement, and the whole dream was just like me going along this journey, tracing the water, and eventually ending up in a big, wide open sea.
Okay, yeah, I like that as a first, a dream work. So I'm thinking maybe we go like 12 to 15 minutes in the dream work, and then we might come out. Does that work for you, Sang? We'll go about that long and just see where we're at. And the invitation for the rest of you is to listen, and maybe be present, and we can do a little bit of debriefing. And I'm pretty sure we have room for space for at least one or two other dreams. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight, spotlight is the thing. So adding another spotlight. And yeah, let me get my timer going here. And just because the timer goes off doesn't mean you need to stop. It's just sort of like a kind of a symbol that, hey, I'm going to set it for 12 minutes, and then you can have maybe 3 more minutes for us to come back in a way that works for you. So yeah, and inviting you, maybe, I don't know, for me it's helpful to close my eyes. You don't have to, but whatever it takes for you to go into the dream space, yeah, maybe as a little bit of a grounding exercise, if you can like focus your attention on your feet and feeling what it's like to have feet supported by the ground, and bringing your intention, your focus, your attention up to your knees. And your lower back. And invite you to come up to your chest and just notice how your chest is opening and contracting. And now bring your attention up to the top of your head. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. and invite you to connect with the dream that you brought for us today. And if you would start, describing what's going on at the beginning of your dream, speaking in the present moment as if you're in it.
I am above above the surface of what looks like a really big lake, and it's magnificent. The landscape. There is some sort of rocky landscape on the lake, and I am on it, maybe some sort of bridge, something narrow, and I feel quite in awe, and I want to explore, but there is a little bit of maybe risks, feeling of danger, but I go ahead, and I remember there was some sort of maybe like a space I can enter into, like maybe a cave or something. But I don't stay in there very long at all in the dream, and I just continue. So the sense of danger subsides, and I am now feeling free and more in the exploratory mood. And I see a flowing water, kind of like a stream or a river, small one, and then rocks on both sides, and also I think on the river, on the creek, and I just trace it. I just jump and hop and onto the rocks and just keep going along the river. And then I feel very excited. I'm having a lot of fun. There is a lot of light, and it feels just safe and joyful. And eventually I end up at the sea, and I am swimming. And again, feeling this sense of expansiveness and awe, how open and beautiful, and I cannot believe I'm in this space. And I get into under the water, and it's I can feel the water on my body, the current, and I am trying to swim. I have concerns. I am concerned about big animals, marine animals, maybe eating me or something. And so I look around, and I do see some big fish, but they are not harming me. And I am again in awe at the beauty. And I think at this point I see people too. Sometimes I'm above the water, and I see people also doing activities, and there's some kind of group activity going on, and I think I'm part of it, and I just start swimming, and I swim fast, and it feels exciting because I'm going fast, going along with the current. I think that is the most exciting part of the dream, just feeling the motion, feeling the air and the water and the movement, and I feel very excited. And I think shortly after that, the dream ends.
Thank you. Yeah, there's a lot of richness in this dream. I wonder if you could go back to the beginning and actually the point where you see the cave for the first time. Can you go back to that moment?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So in that moment, when you first see the cave, can you describe what's around you?
I just remember vaguely there is rock, excuse me, and I need to, it felt precarious and I need to make some kind of jump, I think, in order to get to the next part of where I wanted to go. I'm not too sure if it's a cave, but I remember there was some kind of space that looks like it draws me, but I'm a little bit scared of it.
Mm. So you're scared of this particular space.
Mm-hmm.
And so you you notice that you're scared and you saw some rocks, and then what happens?
Then I think I made the jump and I was fine. And that space just kind of was behind me, yeah, behind my consciousness, or I just forget it, I think.
Oh, did you enter the cave?
I feel like I did. There was some moments of darkness, I think.
Okay. Do you want to, can you go back to that moment of darkness in that particular part? And what's happening as you're standing in that darkness right now?
Uncomfortable. I don't like it.
Yeah, so uncomfortable is so you're not able to see anything because it's dark, or is there any faint light, or is it completely dark?
I think there is a sense of an exit, and I'm not completely in the darkness.
Okay.
There,
Yeah. Any smells um, that are part of that, or
no.
and so you're aware of kind of the exit, but part of you is in the darkness. Are you alone in that space? Can you tell?
No. No, I remember I think I was with my brother and maybe one or two friends.
Okay, so you're with your brother and one or two friends, and can you see where they are relative to where you're standing?
No, I cannot.
Okay, but you sense that they're there.
Yes, they have a general presence that I cannot locate, and it's very blurred, and I only remember being with them in the beginning of the dream,
Mm.
maybe up to the point where I felt scared and I was gonna go into this space.
Oh, so they might be outside of the cave.
They might be. We were going on this journey together, but they might enter it too, but I don't know because it from that point on, I've experienced it alone mostly.
Mm. And what's your feeling towards your brother and these friends?
I feel a closeness to my brother, and the friends felt like I I am with people, but not necessarily close or very connected.
Okay. All right. And wondering if how would it feel to go forward in the dream? So you spend a little bit of time in the darkness, and then you end up going out again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Pretty quickly.
pretty quickly. Yeah. So there was another moment when I noticed that you mentioned having some fear. Can you go to that moment, like after the cave?
The fear was before the cave. After the cave, I didn't feel fear anymore.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, I remember you mentioning there's a part where you're in the water and you're swimming, and do you remember the point at which, right before you got into the water? Can you go to that point?
Mm-hmm.
What's your feeling as you're about to go into the water? Like what's happening for you in that moment?
Sorry, I just turned my phone off, the sound. Right before I go into the water, it's hard to remember the feeling because it all happened so fast.
Yeah,
I was in motion the whole way before that, and maybe it was not a linear thing, like I was
sure,
running and skipping, hopping, and then I jump in. Maybe I just suddenly got transported
sure.
into water.
Yeah. So maybe just go back to that moment where you feel yourself in the water. That first moment. That you just happen to be there. Like what's happening there?
I am just kind of like the feeling when I jump into the water, jump into the river or lake. There's that little bit of a shock to the body, and it feels a little bit scary, but really good and exciting at the same time. And just looking around and being taken by everything I see.
Okay. So thank you. Is this an okay spot for us to pause our journey and
Yes.
And for you to come back to present awareness and just want to maybe look around the room and notice the things that are around you, and one of them being the Zoom session that we have. So just how are you feeling right now, and how was that experience for you to revisit the dream?
I feel a sense of groundedness. I feel really present right now, and through this guidance, I felt very present in the dream as well. I normally have a hard time reliving it, but I felt like I was reliving it.
Thanks. Yeah. So I enjoyed being with you in the dream. If are you open to hearing a little bit from my perspective.
Yes, I would be happy to. Thank you.
Yeah, and I think we have time for someone else. But yeah, I enjoyed being with you. Like I felt like I was like going along with you in the dream. So it was yeah, it felt like I was accompanying you in this imagination place. So thank you for your willingness to share and to be present with us. Are you okay to receive maybe feedback or questions on the process? But before going there, I also want to saying that there's, my experience is that dreams have a lot of levels of meaning, and there's a lot of richness in this particular dream, and so you might consider going back and getting curious about some of the other points in the dream as well. So there's other one thing. Are you open to some offers?
Definitely.
So sometimes doing dream work by yourself can be difficult. So one idea, and it's one of the things that we encourage in our Wild Heart series and Wild Mind, the whole general work, is to go for a wander in nature, like maybe a wild or semi-wild place, and find a being on the land, like a tree or a boulder or some being that feels comfortable, and ask them if they would be willing to listen to your dream. And you can ask a tree or a boulder if they're willing to listen. And yeah, so that's the invitation. Yeah, so I've done that many times, and the beings on the land are able to support, and usually they're willing. Sometimes they're not, but that consent is very important as well.
Yes.
So saying thank you so much for sharing, and any feedback for Sang's journey or a question about process before we go on to another person doing dream work.
Yeah, I have a question regarding process, James.
Sure.
Is there a method how you ask the questions to perhaps get the person out of their head and more into their direct felt experience, their somatic experience?
Yes, and a lot of it's intuition, sort of like sometimes I don't want to get them back into their body. The sort of like I'm wanting to hold into that deep imagination space, and that's slightly different than becoming embodied. So I try to do embodiment practices before we go into the imaginal realm. So, and that's why I did a little bit of grounding beforehand to acknowledge those parts. But then once we're in the dream space, the focus is we want to stay in the deep imagination. So and there's a lot of experiences there, but we want to keep them over there as opposed to in the middle world, so to speak, as opposed to here. Yeah, thanks for the question. Hope that was helpful. And the questions, it helps to just sort of like do dream work in a community, like in the village that I wish I lived in. We might do dream work every morning during breakfast, which is sort of what we do in the Animas Valley offerings. So if you ever get a chance to go on one, I highly suggest going on an Animas journey.
Yeah, it sounds like it's just immense curiosity, as if like I was with them in their dream and exploring their imagination with them.
Yeah.
As if I was there and intuitively guided.
Yeah. and that's where the empathy comes in. It's sort of like I'm tuning into maybe my enlightened inner giraffe, using NVC terms to just listen intuitively as to what might be happening. And there's other like dream specific things that we might look for, like curiosities around things that are being avoided. And yeah, thanks for the question. All right, I want to invite the next dreamer. Let's see. So Vanessa and just if we could stay at the title and a little bit of what it is that you wanted, your dream subject. Vanessa, could you remind me what yours was? And I want to check in with Sena to see if you have a topic. Vanessa, do you have what was your dream topic? Dream title?
So like a break-in, but not so intense as that sounds. I was just kind of someone else's house was broken into, and I was trying to figure out what was happening.
Okay, sure. And Sena, did you have a topic?
The topic was self-judgment. And
Okay.
now when we were talking, I just realized, like, in my latest stream, I had my sister, and I was having a talk with her, a personal chat.
Okay, a talk
Yeah.
with your sister.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks. And Dre, remind me of your title?
Yeah, a travel ticket.
A travel ticket. Yeah. Can you give me like another little bit with the travel ticket, just so I get a feel?
Yeah, just trying to go purchase a ticket, but then not having any money, and I had to get there. So there's a lot of anxiousness around that and stress. And then looking around for help and support and coming across this older couple. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Dre. So I'm wondering, one of the things that I also look for is I like, sort of switching male-bodied to female-bodied and back and forth. So Vanessa, I'm wondering, are you up for doing a little dream work? And I'm pretty sure we have time for perhaps one more as well. Are you up for it?
Yes, I'm up for it.
Okay. I'm gonna spotlight you. And I will set a timer, roughly for 12 minutes. And, again, you don't have to end right away, but I'll look for a spot where we might, pause the work. So you're welcome to close your eyes. You don't have to, but sometimes it helps. And just inviting a little bit of presence. Yeah, so bringing your attention to your body, maybe allowing for your own personal scan, like, is there anything that's uncomfortable? Like, I always have a little bit of something in my lower back. So maybe check in with your lower back since we've been sitting for a little while. Just welcome whatever's there. And bring your awareness like up your spine towards your chest area. And notice that you're breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. And there's a part of you that's connected to the earth right now through gravity. And you might bring your attention down to your feet and notice that they're pressed against the ground. That ground is pulling you towards the earth. And you're breathing in and breathing out. And you're connected to the earth right now through your feet. Breathing in and breathing out. So I invite you to bring into your awareness the dream that that you're choosing to practice with right now, and share like what's happening in this moment in the dream.
I'm at a house of an affluent family that I work for in the dream. Yeah, it seems like the house is kind of on a hill. And they remind me of a family I've taught there's real life. And I have a sense like there's the family around. I have a sense that my sister's around, that I don't see her. And there's like a social aspect to it. So there might be more people around. And we're going to go somewhere, and I realize I've forgotten something in their house. So I walk, like we're towards the back patio of the house, but it's the front yard at the same time. And I walk towards the front door, which is at the back of the house, and then go inside. And then when I'm within the house, I walk towards the back. And I have this sense of needing to hurry and not wanting to hold people up. And when I'm in the house, oh yeah, and that setup of the house, it actually reminds me of my grandparents' place. When I'm in the house, I have a sense, especially when I reach towards the inside that's close to the back patio, I have a sense that something is off. And I realize that someone that's not supposed to be in the house is there. And I'm afraid. I'm trying to figure out what's going on. And then I see my friend Brian, and he's not supposed to be there. And there's something really different about him, like this sense of desperation. Like he's really fallen on hard times. And I'm worried. I have a sense of danger from him. And I need to like talk him down from what, like he's there to do something bad, and I need to talk him down from it. And so I'm telling him I know the family, and maybe I can explain that I know him to the family, and maybe they can help or they won't. Like won't take the break-in so badly. I seem to be able to like calm him down some. He's sitting at a table, and then I want to send a message to the father of the family about what's going on, because I'm uncomfortable that like he and everyone else have no idea what's going on inside the house. I imagine they think I'm just taking a long time. Somehow I'm able to, and I think the father comes inside, and from here, I'm not sure how everything resolved. There was maybe a sense of like acceptance and trying to figure out what to do. And then there was a small piece that seemed like it was a different setting, but where I was talking to someone, it was just me and an unidentified person, and I was telling them about me and my partner, and the person gendered me as female and my partner as male, and I needed to explain that we were both non-binary and gender neutral. And that's what I remember.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, I wonder if we can, if you're willing to go back to that moment where you recognize your friend. Was it Brian?
Yes.
Yeah. So right in that moment when you notice that Brian is there, what's going on?
I think I felt like startled by it, but some relief that it was someone I knew.
Mm-hmm. Startled and relieved to know. Yeah. And then what happens?
You can just see him like sitting at the table looking different. He seems to be more out of shape than I remember him, and kind of, yeah, just something very disheveled and like a sense of desperation.
When you say desperation, is that what you're feeling, or you're noticing something about him?
Something I'm perceiving about him. I'm worried. He's so different than how he usually is.
Mm. So he's different.
Yeah.
And your feelings towards him right now?
Worries and concern, I think, both about how he's doing and what he's capable of.
Mm. Worried about what he's doing and what he's capable of.
Like some worry and concern for him, and some worry and concern of what he's capable of, and maybe for myself, and if I'm in a dangerous situation.
Yeah. So you're curious about your own safety and also what might be going on for him.
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, and then what happens?
I try to kind of answer both at once, where I try to talk him down from doing anything that could be dangerous or harmful to me, also to the family of the house he's in, while trying to say that maybe I could help him.
Okay. So you mentioned that maybe you can help him.
Yeah, since I could maybe talk to the family on his behalf, and maybe they won't be so alarmed that he broke in or pressed. Maybe they'll want to help him.
And how was that for him? How to receive that?
He seemed open to it. He seemed to, yeah, accept that.
Mm. All right. How would it be for you? And how close are you standing to your friend in the dream?
Not very close. He's sitting at one end of a long table, and I'm away from the table, so I'm the whole table length away from him.
Yeah. How would it feel for you to tell the dream from your friend's perspective? Like maybe envisioning yourself sitting at the desk as your friend. Does that feel comfortable to try on?
I'm curious to try it. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're sitting at the desk and your friend seems concerned, and yeah, maybe if you could describe, go back to the moment where you first notice Vanessa is nearby. What's going on for you as you're sitting at the desk?
There's a sense of being like out of place. Like, how did I get here? And there's a sense of distance from Vanessa. Vanessa seems very weary and yeah, not like a friendly or welcoming presence, like the opposite, like very standoffish.
So you're wondering how you got there, and you're not sure. And Vanessa seems standoffish somehow.
Yeah.
Anything else as you sit in that place? So what are your feelings?
Like a sense of being more comfortable than I should be in a place I don't belong.
So feeling comfortable, you're not sure why you're there, but you're comfortable somehow.
Yeah, like the way I'm sitting with like there's like a sinking in feeling, like it's okay to be there, which is surprising.
So you're surprised that you're there, but somehow it feels okay to be there.
Yeah.
And what's your feeling towards Vanessa?
The standoffness is like really the only feeling that I sense there.
Okay. If you're willing, would you be up for going back into your dream self? So releasing that part of Brian and going back into your dream self as Vanessa.
Yeah, can do that.
Yeah. So now you're standing there, and I'm wondering if this might be a good pausing place for our work. Does it feel okay for you to pause, or is there anything else that wants to happen before we leave the dream space?
I have a sense that I want to take a look at the brief moment after that.
Yeah, let's go there then. You want to look at so what's happening now?
The setting isn't as clear. It's just a sense of talking to someone unidentified that about, yeah, I guess about me and my romantic partner, and they're labeling us in gendered roles of female and male,
Mm.
and needing to clarify that neither of us identify that way.
Mm-hmm. And what's the feeling for you right there in the dream space?
Discomfort, some anxiety, some stress about them.
Mm. Anxiety, stress.
Yeah, I'm really wanting to be seen and understood.
Mm. Wanting to be seen and understood. Mm. Is this a better place to pause? Yeah, just inviting you to come back to the middle world of, we're on Zoom. So acknowledging the dream space where you were, and now you're back. Invite you to open your eyes and look around. Just notice like maybe where you're sitting and the room that you're in. And when it feels comfortable, acknowledge the computer that's running Zoom, and the others that are here. Yeah. So now that you're back from the dream space, how are you feeling? Like, and how was that for you to share the dream?
Was yeah, there was something meaningful and fulfilling about really going into it. And it's fascinating of how much I could be in the dream, like versus opening my eyes now and remembering the Zoom call and everything.
Yeah, fascinated. Yeah, isn't it cool that you could go into the dream and still be awake? Yeah. Yeah, thanks for sharing your dream. I appreciate your willingness to be real with us.
Thanks for listening and guiding me through it.
Sure. Are you open to like just quick feedback from the group? Just having witnessed your dream work?
Yeah.
Yeah. So just opening it up for brief feedback on, yeah, just witnessing Vanessa's work, and also open to maybe questions on process. And we have time for another one if you guys are up for it. So any questions or feedback?
I just felt that it was so revealing, in maybe just my interpretation, but I felt like through the dream, it's almost like the unconscious was giving her suggestions and what to pay attention to and feel into in waking state.
So you have a curiosity about what's going on there. Yeah. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. What came through for me was, yeah, messages to grieve. Yeah, indication to grieve the mourning of those needs that weren't being met.
Thanks, Trey. Yeah. How was it to receive that, Vanessa? Just, their experiences of your dream, which you can take or leave. You don't have to like take any of it, but just checking in with you. How was it to hear some of that, if anything?
I appreciate it. Yeah, it's connecting to hear kind of what others took away from my dream experience.
Good. Well, thank you. Does this feel complete for now, Vanessa?
Yeah, I also wanted to mention I really appreciated the exercise of going into Brian's perspective in the dream. That was really helpful to think about. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for noticing and highlighting it. It's a powerful thing to do in dream work. I debated, if that's something we wanted to do, and my intuition said that, that it would be appropriate and maybe helpful. So that's sometimes it's helpful to sort of, and this is sort of an example of getting revelations from the dream from the inside. Because had you not gone into that experience, you might not have known what it was like to be them. So sometimes those are some things that are like powerful strategies for being in the dream space and doing that.
Thanks. Yeah, it's definitely helpful. And I definitely think I'll use it in situations because like we kind of are everyone in our dream, right? Like they're all parts of our subconscious, is my understanding.
Yeah, this is all, the dream is creating an experience for you to be understood from the inside. And so there's no way that anyone from the outside could give you that experience of taking on Brian's energy. So that's part of the wisdom of the dream work, letting the dream reveal itself. Yeah, thank you, Vanessa. I wonder, Dre, are you open for doing some dream work? We have a little bit of time.
Yeah, I'm open to it, James.
Yeah. Wondering, could we take a 5-minute bio break? I'd love to. I've been drinking a lot of water, and how about we do that, and we'll come back in about 5 minutes? Okay. Right. So let me spotlight you. Yeah, a little bit of an embodiment practice. I see that you're closed your eyes. Invite you to focus on your breath, breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out. Know that you're intimately connected to the air of the earth. Breathing in and breathing out. This air has been breathed probably many times by trees and other beings. Breathing in and breathing out. So at least one or many trees or plankton or other beings have touched the air that you're breathing. In a major way, we're connected to all the beings that have touched this air as you're breathing in and breathing out. As you find yourself present in this moment, I invite you to bring into your awareness the dream that you wanted to work. And I'll set a timer for about 15 minutes or so. And then we'll check in with each other. So when you're ready, speak to the dream that you brought with us today.
I notice I'm in a terminal area. Just looking around, there's a lot of fluorescent lighting. There's people around, it's busy. And I'm just lining up to get a ticket. I'm not sure if it's a bus ticket or a plane ticket, but going somewhere. Feels like I'm going home. And I feel my best friend there, Henry, is there with me. And as the line is getting shorter, I'm just there, just waiting patiently. And then I rummage around my pockets and my heart sinks. And I realize my wallet isn't here. And so I just had this realization that I don't have any money to buy this ticket. And so I feel in panic. I'm panicking right now and feeling super anxious and stressed. And so I'm just scrambling, I'm looking around, and it feels like I'm just in this survival mode of trying to figure this problem out of how to get home. And so I'm just looking around, and this older couple catches my attention. And they catch my attention because they're Asian of descent, and I'm Asian descent as well. So I connect with that. And just reminds me of my parents, this energy, and my grandparents. And so I try to come towards this couple, and I just start speaking broken Vietnamese, like just trying to make sense of connecting with this Asian couple that's way older than me. I can imagine they're in their 70s and their 80s. And they give this energy to me, like I feel supported. I feel seen and heard, and the man offers to pay for my ticket. And all of a sudden I feel this sense of relief just bathe through my body. And I just felt like really held in that moment, and just really felt good. And then all of a sudden I had this feeling of guilt come in, of thinking of ways to pay this person back. And now I'm just like, not even present. I'm just thinking, I'm like, oh, how am I going to pay them back? What am I going to do? Maybe they'll come to my home, and we'll figure something out. And then all of a sudden, this feeling of terror comes over me. Because the place that we're going to, that me and my friend Henry are going to, is this seems like this secret base that we don't want anybody to see. And all of a sudden, I get this glimpse that I'm in this space now. There's a big wide TV projector screen, and for some reason, I think it's playing this Terminator movie. And in this space, as if like this warehouse of all this weapons and gadgets and technology, and it has this feeling like I'm hiding something here, as if like we're freedom fighters or something like that. And I didn't want the secret to get out. And so I was afraid of letting this couple see this space. And if they would see this space, they would rat us out. And I was running through these scenarios of like, no, what if they're one of us? But what if they weren't? And it was like hum hawing, and then even had thoughts of like, hey, it's okay. Like if they were not one of us, we'll just take them out. And that like, wow, just feeling of like this petrified feeling and this shock feeling, this violent feeling as well. And just noticing my friend alongside with me, he's just there. And all of a sudden I sense this raid coming. And then all of a sudden the cops showed up, SWAT team shows up, raids the place, and there's gunfighting and shooting, and I brought up a shotgun and start firing. And in that moment, it was just like, yeah, it just felt paralyzing at the moment. Yeah. And that's all I can remember.
Okay. So I wonder if you want to, can you go back to that moment where you felt terror?
Hmm. Yeah.
The first one.
Mm, mm. Yeah.
What's happening there?
Just lost control, shock. Just in that moment, like, oh shit, I don't have money to get home. And just feeling a panic, my heart racing, and just scrambling to find solutions.
Scrambling to find solutions. Yeah. And then what?
It just feels like a tunnel vision, um, deer in the headlight look, and just looking around for help. Um, Grasping is like grasping for air.
Mhm. Does it feel important to be able to get that ticket?
In that moment, it felt like it was like so important. It felt like the end of the world to not get home. Um,
Yeah, so there's something important about getting the ticket. You said like getting home?
yeah, it felt like going home. It felt like this energy of like, I'm going to be safe. This is the ticket to safety.
The ticket to safety. And then what happened?
And I was just feeling good until I'm like, oh man, I can't get to safety. And so I'm looking around and I see this older couple that I resonate with. And the reason I resonate with is because they're Asian. And so it's like this feeling of belonging as if like they get me because I'm Asian. And it's interesting because I judge it to be like, now I'm human, but there's a part of me in there is like this belonging of using this card. It feels like this Asian card to connect and see if they can support and help me from that place because, and the rationality behind it is because I'm Asian and you're Asian and we should help each other.
Hmm. So out of this couple, like who are you interacting with the most? The male or the woman or the man?
Feels
Or
at first both like I'm like I'm just talking out loud and telling my story, and it's the man that responds to me. Yeah.
and what is his partner doing?
Just observing, just really at peace. They're both at peace. They're both really open and compassionate and calm.
Hmm. Hmm. What would it be like if you were to take on the energy of the partner, the one that didn't say anything? Are you up for trying that?
Yeah.
And once you're in the partner's energy, can you describe like what are you seeing? Are you able to see Dre and
Yeah.
so what's happening there?
It's everything will be fine. Everything will be fine. And that like this compassionate, kind, loving energy and energy of patience and grace and groundedness and just aware and that everything will be fine. It's okay.
Everything will be fine. That's
It's
okay.
okay. It's okay.
Yeah. And what are your feelings towards this young man that is asking for help?
It just reminds me of like a little my little boy in me that just needs comfort, soothing. Just a reminder of it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. Yeah.
Anything else that needs to be said from this place?
It's okay that, you don't have your wallet here. It's okay that you don't have money. It's okay that you forgot it. It's okay. We got you.
We got you.
We got you.
All right. Are you willing to step back into your dream self?
Yeah.
So you're back into your dream self, and you see this Asian couple in front of you. Yeah, let me know when you're there.
Yeah, I'm there.
What are your feelings towards the Asian couple?
Sadness and appreciation and so much gratitude. Yeah. Thankfulness.
Gratitude for their presence.
For their presence, for their energy, for their help, their support, for them seeing me without judging me, just really co-regulating me and just making me feel safe.
Thank you, Dre. Is this an okay place to pause the dream work?
Yeah.
Okay, inviting you to come back to the middle world. Once you're ready, open your eyes and notice the room that you're in. Acknowledge one or two things in your room. Feel yourself back in your body. Your feet are on the ground and you're sitting. And acknowledge the computer in front of you, the device. And the other people on this Zoom call. So now that you're back, checking in. How are you feeling right now? Just being back in the middle world.
I'm feeling emotional. Feeling raw, tender. Yeah. There's emotion that's bubbling up. Just ready to cry.
Yeah. So in a tender place. Yeah, wanting to honor that. We're almost done with the workshop. Yeah, according to my clock, we've got about 3 minutes left. Thanks, Dre, for being willing to share your dream with us, and for allowing me to go along with you. Yeah, I enjoyed the adventure and just the different scenes, and yeah, and if you're open to continuing the dream work, you can either reach out to me or you might go on a wander in nature. And like I offered earlier, find a being that feels welcoming. Maybe even like the older couple. You might find a being that feels coupled in some way, maybe a tree that has two trunks, or see if it consents to listening to your dream. And you might give that a go.
Yeah, received.
Yeah,
and
thanks,
thank you
Dre.
for your guidance.
Thanks. So we're almost out of time. I'd love to just do a little checkout circle. I'm going to say a couple more things, and then we'll check out and say goodbye. Yeah, one is to encourage your dream work. I've had soul encounters in my dreams. I've encountered shadow figures that, having worked them, have released just a ton of energy that I need in my middle world self. So just encouraging that dream work can be a beautiful way of listening to the unconscious and creating a relationship with unconscious elements. So I've gotten a lot out of that. This work is the West facet of the self in Bill Plotkin's model. He's at least in the middle world plane, there's a four-directional model, and the first part of the 10-week series is cultivating wholeness in those four directions. And in the second half of the series, we will work with sub-personalities, like shadow being one of them. Like wounded child is another one. The escapist and addict and loyal soldiers are the sub-personalities of the four directions. And part of the work is to befriend those, get to know them, celebrate their contribution to our lives, and bring them into the village, our inner village. So that's sort of the gist of the 10-week series. We need about a handful of people to register in order to hold it. And second part of the dream work is if you've had some vivid images, you might consider drawing them. So any vivid images, drawing them. I have several water images in my dream. So water can be it, or the television, or even the couple, I don't know. Anyway, inviting like maybe a minute of checkout per person. I'll just kind of go around the circle in clockwise direction. Wondering, Crystal, if you're willing to start us off, and then Vanessa, just kind of going in this direction. How are you feeling in a minute or less?
Feeling kind of calm and relaxed. I really enjoyed the whole process. It was really neat to see like all three dreams and everything. Yeah, just feel appreciation.
Thanks, Crystal. Vanessa, and then Dre.
I've really enjoyed and appreciated this. I'm really interested in like dream work, the different ways to explore dreams, and I found it really valuable to try it out myself and also experience others' dreams along with them. Thanks.
Thanks, Vanessa. Dre, and then Sang.
Yeah, feeling very, very, very full, very grateful. Really appreciate everyone stepping forward and bringing their essence here, and for me to witness that, and feeling really the powerful of this work. Like I dream quite vividly, though it never created space for myself to unpack it. So this gives me some things I can take with me to honor myself in that space. So it feels like inner child work and parts work, though I'm doing it with my dream. Yeah.
Thanks,
Thank
Dre. Sang, how are you? Then I'll check out.
I feel very inspired as well, and very grateful. I got so much from this session. My own interpretation with you earlier, afterwards I felt so much, there was so much things revealed to me that I was busy taking notes. And also through other people's dreams, and I could feel the universal element of the elements in their dreams I can relate to and feel as well. And it's kind of like having my unconscious mirrored as well, and very beneficial. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sang. My checkout is, gosh, I'm really grateful that you're here. I wasn't sure who was going to show up. You know, these free workshops, I never know who's going to be here. So really grateful for your presence and your willingness to show up in the dream world. That's valuable. And I'm also celebrating that this is the kind of village I'd like to live in, where we hold space for each other's dreams. You know, I have maybe visions of our ancestors sitting around fires and you know, sharing dreams and really valuing the wisdom that comes through. So so happy to at least contributed to some of that, and hopefully we can all find our villages where we can make space for our dreams. And so yeah, that's all I got. I feel checked out, and I'm willing to stay around a little bit longer if there are any questions about this work or anything related to either NVC or Wild Mind or the Wild Heart series. So thanks for hanging out. And if you need to go, that's cool too.
Thank you, James.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Trey.
everyone.
I was curious about you. You mentioned middle world, and
Oh yeah, sorry, I didn't define those. Middle world is sort of like the world that we're in right now, and like in Native American tradition, the upper world is the place of spirit where we're all one, sort of like the cosmic energy of all of us, the universal energy of all of us. And then the underworld was where, you know, Native Americans thought of as where dreams lie. Like it's like below the conscious mind. So underworld being the image of like under the earth, underground, place of dreams, and place of shadow, you know, the unconscious basically. So and middle world is where we are right now, the conscious awareness of the ego, where the ego lives.
okay, thanks. That's helpful. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
thanks
was
for the question.
I also had one more question, but I wanted to open up the space for saying, do you have a question?
I appreciate that. We're just gonna ask about the drawing. How, in your personal experience or observations of others, how does that help you? The process of drawing your dreams, does a symbol kind of come to life and reveal something to you?
Yeah, yeah. And if you look at the package, the PDF, do you have the PDF? So
I don't think so.
okay.
Oh, wait, yeah, I did. I downloaded it.
Yeah. So in the next to last slide, so what's helpful for me is that like when I draw actually all of those symbols, those images, it takes me directly into the dream space. Like I can remember the dream as if I'm in it. Like for me, the image is everything. And I can like instantly recall the dream. It's like a different form of journaling the dream. So the image is actually more instantaneous for me. Yeah, so all those 4 images for me take me instantaneous into the dream world. And the other strategy that I use for dreams is I give them a title, like using kind of like what we did to describe the dream. So actually writing a title out above the dream is another way of recalling the dream. But it's different, right? It's using a sentence to recall the dream can also take you there, but images are more direct.
I agree. Yeah, it's more thematic as well. And the title is like kind of, okay, what's the theme of this? What's
Yeah,
the
it's
essence?
like it takes interpretation, whereas the image is a more direct. So I think Jungians would say that as we draw the dream images, they become symbols. like we're attaching some meaning to the image, and it takes us to that experience. So it's yeah. I would say the image is a pointer to the dream.
Right.
So
Right.
it's important. I think it's an important distinction that it isn't the dream itself, it's a pointer to it, but it's a richer, it's like it has higher dimensionality than just writing the title of the dream.
It also feels like it's closer to the language of the unconscious instead of using words, which is
Yeah,
the brain.
right.
So
Requires interpretation, the linguistic side.
yeah,
So
that's kind of
it's more direct
right.
yeah.
That's something I haven't tried. So thank you so much for sharing that. I've only tried to write words, and as I'm writing the words, I often feel like I'm losing it, but I have to like do work to reconnect with the dream. So thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for the question. Yeah, Vanessa, did you have something?
Oh yeah. Well, you mentioned for the session starting next week, that you need more people. I was wondering like how many people you need still for.
About 5. Yeah.
Would like to sign up.
Say again, Sang, that you're thinking of signing up?
Yeah.
Yeah, great. That'd be fantastic. And yeah, and so I am offering the first session of the 10 weeks for free. So maybe if you could tell your friends. But it's powerful work, and yeah. So we need I could use a handful of registrations to hold it. So we have more time to find other people.
Would you have more information on the meetup page, right, regarding that workshop?
Best place is my my website, compassionateconnecting.com. If you download the PDF, slide 3 has a link to the registration.
Okay, perfect. All right, I have the PDF. Sorry, I have to go.
Okay.
Thank you so much. I
Yeah.
got a lot.
Thanks for being here. We had fun. I had fun.
Me too. And thanks, Vanessa, for sharing your dream.
Thanks, you too.
Nice. Take care.
Well,
You complete, Vanessa? We good?
yes.
Okay. Take care. Bye.